Hello everybody, it's been quite a while since my last video, but with the new release of this Go Battle League, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to really showcase this new feature Niantic released. I think that this is going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully this gets people involved in wanting to learn what PvP is about and try to learn some of the strategies that a lot of us have picked up over the past year thanks to Silph Arena. So with this new feature, it gives you 5 battles for 1 raid pass, as far as I can tell as of now. And if you walk an additional 5 kilometers, you get a chance to get another additional 5 battles. This is my first attempt at doing it. I used a raid pass, so my rewards will be a little bit different than if you only walked for 5 kilometers. But as we do more of these battles, I'll showcase more of the rewards that you actually get from doing these battle challenges. So this is my first time trying to do this, and let's see how I did. Just to let everybody know, I used one of my teams I previously used for my regional season for Silph Arena, which was Azumarill lead, Skarmory, and Medicham in the back. I really thought that they had the best coverage. So let's see how this team actually performed against some new opponents. Our first battler looks like Trojinx. Sorry if I mispronounced any of these names. So Trojinx leads Gyarados, which is something I'm not really used to. Immediately we could tell that he's using Bite. So Bite does a decent amount of damage, but is really slow at charging up your charge moves. I opt to attempt to take a shield. I have a feeling that newer players are going to be more inclined to want to waste their shields early on. And we're capable of taking a shield from Gyarados, which I think that he's pretty squishy, so the Ice Beam might have actually done a decent amount of damage. So after I use my Ice Beam, I come in with the Play Rough, because if he doesn't shield it, he's going to take way more damage, which he didn't. And here I'm going to opt to forfeit using a shield. Any move that Gyarados can throw at Azumarill, he's going to heavily resist. So I easily eat a Hydro Pump, knocked out the Gyarados, basically, and get to keep both of my shields. So he hard switches into Lapras, and I charge up a little bit of extra energy just in case my Azumarill has to come back in. And I know in this situation, I can just bring in Medicham. I have 2 shields, and Medicham can farm down Lapras because of that ice typing makes Medicham super effective. He switches into Drifloon, which is perfect. I basically know at this stage there's no way I can lose the game. I have Skarmory in the back, and I'm going to be able to get 2 Ice Punches off on Drifloon, which is basically going to knock it out. So at this stage, he's got Gyarados, who's almost dead, no shields, a Drifloon at half HP, and a Lapras that's going to lose to Skarmory. I'm going to let Medicham go down, bring back in Azumarill since it's already fully charged up, knock out the Drifloon, and I might be able to get to a Play Rough before his Lapras can knock me out. But in case I can't do that, I could just switch into the Skarmory. And actually, I opted just to go straight into Skarmory because I have 1 shield. We might as well just play it safe. So I use my last shield, and I can't remember what Skarmory's fast move is. I think it's Wing Attack. Wing Attack charges up Sky Attack really fast. So that's what makes Skarmory incredibly good, on top of the fact he's got good attack stat and he has a lot of resistances. So Skarmory is going to be a really safe switch for these next few battles, along with Medicham, just in case they bring in a counter for Azumarill, who I lead all 5 games. So our next opponent is Jufer. And This is not a good lead for him. He decides to go Ramparados, who looks like he's got smacked out, and those bubbles are just doing so much damage. He's able to get to a charge move, and my Azumarill is so bulky, he's going to be able to easily eat that Rock Slide and farm down the Ramparados. And then I can get off 2 charge moves on this Poliwrath. So I go for the bait first with an Ice Beam, and we get the shield. And I just barely can make it to a play rough. So if he doesn't shield here, it will knock out or get close to knocking out the Poliwrath, which he decides to trade both of his shields, which is perfect because now that means Skarmory can come in freely and farm down the Poliwrath, which at this point we notice he's using Rock Smash, which is Poliwrath's worst fast move that he can use. So my opponent won't be able to get to a charge move. And then his last Pokemon is Tauros, who is weak to fighting. So Metachan comes in and will swiftly knock it out. I don't even think he can get to a charge move. He's also using Zen Headbutt, which Metacham also resists. So, good game, Pokejufer. Our next opponent is Canby0621. And this was actually one of my closest matches. But unfortunately, we did have a lag issue, possibly a rage quit. But I fortunately have the lead, as Azumarill does a lot of damage to Lucario. And this had to have been a mistake, because they switch into Altaria, which is a terrible matchup against Azumarill. I don't know why they would have done that. And this is arguably a mistake that I made as well. But I really just wanted to save the Azumarill for later. And I opt to charge it all the way up and then switch out to Skarmory. I'm going to eat a Sky Attack, as I have mentioned, and we've already seen once that Azumarill is very bulky and will eat all the charge attacks. And here he's going to lose the Altaria, or he's going to lose both shields. Trading both shields, I decide to switch into Skarmory, as it will get close to knocking out the Altaria and also have some charge move saved up in case she decides to bring Lucario in. Look at Skarmory. That is exactly why Skarmory is fantastic in Great League and fantastic as a Pokemon, because it has such strong resistances to a lot of the popular charge moves and fast attacks in Great League. So Skarmory almost knocking out the Altaria. It's very unfortunate, because then we could have saved a little bit of HP not taking this next Sky Attack. But it's fine, because Skarmory resists the Sky Attack. And we'll be able to get to another Sky Attack with no shields. Will knock out the Lucario. Or close. And this is where it could have been really close, because their last Pokemon is Azumarill. And I have Metacham with 2 shields and an Azumarill that is not fully loaded. So at this point, I don't know if it was lag or if it was a rage quit, but they actually don't attack back. And it could have been actually a bad situation for us, but we did have the 2 shields. So we're actually going to move on to the next match, because they do not end up getting back into the game. Which is unfortunate. And our next opponent is Dark Player 4500. With the Haunter lead, which is spicy. But we notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Shadow Claws. I know that that's not enough to make it to a Shadow Ball, so I decide to take the Shadow Punch. And I'm not 100% sure how the Sims works in the lead for Azumarill and Haunter, but I think Haunter might be able to win this matchup because they do have 2 shields, and I think Haunter would be able to get to another Shadow Punch. But my opponent opts to actually trade no shields in this matchup, and Haunter's squishy, so even at 70%, the Haunter would have died to an Ice Beam. So we're not in the greatest position, but he brings in Registeel, which is fine because we have Medicham. If we can get some charge moves out, depending if they're a newer player or not, they may take the bait, and we might be able to take some shields. But they do not. And actually, we're fortunate enough to also burn his energy, so we don't have to worry about eating a charge move from the Medicham. Charging up for later, and brings in Venomoth, which is fine. We will attempt to take 1 shield from it. And switch into Skarmory, which once again heavily resists all of Venomoth's moves. So I don't even have to use any shields here. I take out the Venomoth and then get to save my shields for the Registeel, where I can just knock it out with counters. And here he's charging up extra energy, and I thought it'd go for straight Poison Fangs, but it actually has Psychic and Bug Buzz. Or no, Silver Wind. So in comes the Registeel, which will more than likely waste a shield here because it doesn't have a lot of HP left. And he doesn't. And I was at another Sky Attack. But I knew it didn't really matter at this point. I was just going to let the Skarmory go down. He's not going to have any energy saved up for Medicham. And I have 2 shields and he's at full HP. So our team so far has been performing very well. We are currently 4-0. So can we take the Game 5? The all-deciding Game 5 against Joanne's. Once again, Azumarill, strongest lead. And we get lucky he leads Charizard, which is a phenomenal matchup for Azumarill. We're going to farm up. As he switches into Lairon, I immediately switch into Medicham, as Lairon, I think, is double weak to fighting moves. So any move Lairon throws at Medicham, he's going to be able to absorb it pretty well. And we can use our loaded energy on whatever comes out next. More than likely the Charizard, which is great because he's going to take a lot of damage, or he's going to have to use his shields. So far we're in a great position. Charizard's not going to do that great against Medicham. And I don't think he would have been able to make it to the Blast Burn here, so I think it's going to be a Dragon Claw. Either way, we're still not going to shield because we want Azumarill to be able to come in and use the shield on Azumarill so we can farm up as much energy as possible. But thankfully, it doesn't knock. The Dragon Claw does not knock out our Medicham, and we can get a Ice Punch off, allowing us to farm down the Charizard. And the last Pokemon he has is Venusaur, and that was pretty much his last chance of being able to win this battle. So I'm going to charge up to another Ice Beam, do as much damage as I possibly can on the Venusaur, and quickly switch right into Skarmory. Now, for any newer players, though, if at any point an opponent switches in to your Pokemon with almost any grass type, if you have Skarmory on your team, you can freely switch in Skarmory in almost in all situations, farm them down with using no shields, and have 1 to 2 completely charged moves for any of the Pokemon that they'll switch in after that, which is a very helpful strategy that got me to go 5-0 in my first regionals last year in the Sylph Arena. So we went 5-0 for our first time. It was a lot of fun. We got to see new players and some new Pokemon that I've not gotten a chance to ever battle against. And here's a look at some of the rewards we got. And to me, I went to the charge TMs right away because they're very hard to come by. And I was afraid I only got to choose one of these 5 items. But surprisingly, Niantic has given us at least the option right now to collect all of them. So I clicked the charge TM first, of course. And then the rare candy, then the dust, and then the mystery item was actually a fast TM, which is awesome. And then last, our encounter was Snorlax, which is not a bad set of rewards to get for Go Battle League. So I really hope that you enjoyed the video and that you learned a little bit of how Go Battle League works. So please stay tuned for another episode where we could see what rewards we can get from the next level. Also, if you're interested in any of this PvP stuff and you want to learn and get better, please look in the description for my Discord server. It involves all of the best players from Michigan. It's a collaborative project. We got some great people in there, and they will steer you in the right direction to get your skills up and to learn as much as possible about PvP. So thank you for watching our video, and stay tuned for the next one.